Mm. 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 Oh, good morning. Good morning, my patrons on Patreon and everyone else in YouTube land. Public edition Sunday. I don't know if you can see him, but I got a black cat right here. Hi, Belzy. Good morning, sweetheart. My middle son, Balthazar. Just so you can see him. There he is. I'm not kidding. Look at that face. I love you, baby. You can sit with me. That's all right. You come sit. I got the Llewellyn's Witches calendar right here, checking the astrology for today. So, good morning, and let's start there. This is the public edition, so patrons, if you're going to chat, just know other people are going to see it, which is fine. If it's not, don't. But hi. Sunday, day of the sun. Uranus is direct today. Uranus is stationed. Call 911. So many ass jokes. Whatever. Good morning. I've had a really, really fun weekend. Reconnected with a friend of mine from college. I don't mention names, right? I could mention her name. I'm gonna. Very, very dear friend of mine. Haven't seen her in at least a decade or two, it feels like. And she's maybe temporarily, maybe permanently moved to Long Island. We don't know yet. So I'm going to drive out and see her this week, bring some cards, read her, hang out, catch up. We've been chatting online, Facebook Messenger, just peeing ourselves laughing. So, of course, Aquarius, right? That new moon in Aquarius is already paid off for me in a couple of respects. That's one of them. Aquarius is, I think, well, maybe next to Sagittarius, both of them really, two of the more friendlier signs of the zodiac. But with Aquarius, that fixed air, that higher altitude, really, really cool. Seeing things from a larger perspective, particularly when it's somebody you haven't seen in a decade or two. You get to see a larger picture. You get to see the timeline. You get to see how far you've both come, and the stories that I don't remember from the 80s and the 90s. She does, and vice versa. So, when I write my book, well, I have actually like it feels like 18 books in progress, outlines, all of that stuff written. But when I'm going to be writing the book about my career, which reads like fiction, but it's not, it actually happened, the background to that. So I'm not just going to start with, the day I had my first New Age metaphysical pagan magical job. No, I'm going back to the beginning when I was born, because from the moment I was born, I punched into this like, okay, let's get to work, folks, Virgo that I am. So very excited to see her. Very excited to see my Yule intention, my what I cast for at winter solstice. I don't do New Year's resolutions. I put my intention out at Yule, winter solstice, for the year, and it was to ease up gradually on the hermit mode, because I have been in hermit mode since before the pandemic, working from home. It's just, you see the larger picture, right? This is from Carrie Fisher's Wishful Drinking, and it's a paraphrase. I'm a bad quoter, but I'm a really good paraphraser. I get to the meaning of it, if not the exact verbiage. She goes, in life, something tragic happens, something horrible happens, and it's horrible. And, you just have to live through it and survive it. And then time goes by, right? Maybe sometimes days, weeks, months, years, decades. And then you look back and you see the funny. Location. I live by that, right? That the things we thought were horrible curses end up being blessings in weird ways. So I'm sort of living that, and now that Uranus, if you know my family, you know that you can't say the word Uranus without looks and humor, right? Without that, what's going on with Uranus? Yeah, Uranus was retrograde, but thankfully you went for the outpatient surgery. Oh, they have a topical cream for that now. I mean, never ending one-liners with my family. But it is the rebel. It is the breakthrough planet. Uranus, the sky, right? Essentially space, the universe. But when I think of Aquarius, I think of my friends. I have so many Aquarius friends in this world, in this lifetime, because y'all are the freaks, and I love you for it. To me, freak, I guess it's a neutral word, as most words can be, depending on the intention behind what's being said. You freak, or oh my god, you're such a freak, or you get your freak on, right? Little Missy Elliott vibe on a Sunday morning. I love my aqualungs, my aquariums, because they always tend to accept me. They always tend to be like, "Oh, you think you're weird? You should see what's going on in my third eye." I'm like, that's okay. Confidentiality within your own self is fine. So interesting weather today. But Venus conjunct Saturn. It only happens once a year, and we're in it. And Venus moves quickly, but Saturn moves slowly. So for like today, tomorrow, maybe we'll get a third day out of it. A really, really wonderful opportunity to manifest wealth and worth in our life. Personally, on the inside, professionally, in our homes, in our relationships. It could be a lot of fun. And, I live by astrology? Do I live and die by astrology, right? Well, should I have another cup of coffee? Well, where's Saturn? Saturn rules coffee beans, by the way. Which, no. But certainly I do look at larger trends, like the weather outside today. Well, I wouldn't say it's frightful, but it's overcast, right? Thankfully, I don't think I need to leave the house today. Still easing out of hermit mode. I'm not like racing to get out the door. But I'll see. What I have on the schedule is to go back to the Path of True Love reads with extendeds. I got the 5-card draws done in time. So yeah, we'll see. But here's the key. Regardless of the weather, folks, like how you wake up in the morning and you brush your teeth and you have your morning drink. I'm a coffee drinker. I always have been. I always will be. You don't want to drink the coffee before the toothbrushing. Yeah, because ew. Plus, I put honey in mine, and you really don't want to put sugar and plaque together, right? Not a good idea. Or plaque, that's the right word, whatever. I am witch. I am not dentist. I do not know these things. You want your cavity filled? See, there's that humor. Anyway. A little dairy spilkus going on. Regardless. So we're going to see what the creative choices are today. Thank you, spirit guides, whoever. February 1st is Imbolc proper. Well, no, that's not the astrological date, most likely. That's probably on the 5th or the 7th. I'll look that up online, find out when the sun is 15 degrees in Aquarius. But on that Wednesday, February 1st, my patrons, 3 of my subscription levels, tiers, TIERS, whatever you want to call it, are going to get the Vimeo on-demand stuff for the witch archetype. Now, I talked about this before, but this is a public edition, so I might as well put this out there. I intended to record a workshop series called The Witch Archetype 5 years ago when I was teaching and working at the Silver Broom in Sayville, where I was a member of the board. None of that exists anymore. I am not on the board. The Silver Broom is no longer in Sayville. But the witch archetype was a response to witches in particular, right? Who were finding themselves, and in terms of, well, what kind of a witch am I? Like, you could only be one kind of witch. So the witch archetype is like a gestalt, a warehouse of many other archetypes. So, for example, I'm a mystic witch. I'm a potion witch. I am a healer witch. I am a teacher witch. which you think you want to say witch teacher, but the way archetypes work, you want to put it's all about how you say it. So the larger archetype goes second. Long story, but we talk about that in the workshop. So I recorded, it's a 9 class workshop series. We only got to record 3 of them, but the 3 that were recorded were like the introduction that covers the 4 survival archetypes that everybody has: the child, the victim, the saboteur, and the prostitute archetypes. The second set of workshops did the feminine family archetype, and the third workshop, the masculine family archetypes, each with, I edited them into 3-hour segments. So that's 9. Look, I did math. That's 9 1 hour, pretty much, classes. But then that's all I got done, right? Then there would have been next the healing family, the creative family, the divine family, the wisdom family. Who am I missing? The action family and the wild card family. I don't know if I got all 9 of them in there, but there are 9 of them. So it's outlined. Like, I still have the outline on Google Docs. So Thursday, rewind. Well, actually, no, we went way far back into the 5 years back now to speed it up to this past Wednesday. One of my patrons on here, who is also a friend of mine from high school, invited me to a ladies' night out, and we had a really good time. It was deep, it was personal, but it was fun, it was supportive, and the French onion soup at the restaurant was unbelievably delicious. And how that's related to the witch archetype, I'll tell you in a minute. But it was me moving forward with my Yule intention. Look, I'm a Virgo with a Pisces moon. If it wasn't for the Mars conjunct Leo rising, I wouldn't be doing this, right? I would be either like a librarian or a monk, or a librarian monk, or a monk librarian, or something like that, really focused on my spirituality and my mysticism, and nobody would fucking know, right? What if I had Capricorn rising? I'd be working hard, but I'd probably be slow and steady wins the race and kind of silent about it. So that moving out into the world a little bit gradually. I mean, I drove in the rain at night. Starting to sound like my grandmother. No tea, no shade, no pink lemonade. And had a lovely time. So when I got home, I was like, okay, check in with the boys, make sure the cats are okay. And I sit down here. This is where I do the majority of the editing and stuff. I prefer to do it in the living room because the TV is right there. And I record over there in the dining room. I got home, and all of a sudden it was like the witch archetype. But what triggered it is this, I got to be careful and somewhat politically correct about this, the arguments that I see online about what a witch is and what a witch isn't, and that you can't be a witch and do that, and da-da-da-da-da-da. There's an infinite combination of archetypes for the witch. So that's what these workshops are about. And they were like, we were saving this for you, but we wanted you to chill and have a good time so that I would be receptive to the inspiration to bring it back. So here's what's going to happen. Every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern, on my Patreon, they're the witches, the mystics, and the gods, goddesses, 3 out of the 8 levels of subscription, will get one of those classes in the workshop series that I already did. And we will support that with those 3 tiers with recorded Zoom meets. We could talk about it. And then once those 9 are out, and the first one goes out the first Wednesday in February, the last one hits the last Wednesday in March. And that's kind of how I knew it was the right thing to do. So that come April, we'll catch up as we go, because new people will be coming in and catching up. Then the recorded Zoom things, which again, only those 3 levels, which is mystics and gods, goddesses, will get that. Then we'll move forward to the next segment, which I believe, right? So the survival family, masculine, feminine family, masculine family. I think after that is, well, it's either the divine or the wisdom family, but I have it all outlined, and I live this stuff, and I love teaching. I am a teacher witch, although I have taught witches, which makes me a witch teacher. I'm really a teaching witch. or teach a witch. So I'm very excited. You can tell I'm very inspired to do it so that, you know, no one can tell you what kind of witch you are, but nor are all of these archetypes like shopping online, right? Oh, I like that one. I like that one. I like that one. No. These are written into your contract. This is internal stuff. This is deeper mysticism. This is the stuff I've been chomping at the bit to teach. Because yes, I can do the basics. I have taught the basics in magic, miracles, and mysticism for a very long time. My first public talk on any of this stuff happened in the basement of Body, Mind, and Soul, Huntington Station, across from the Walt Whitman Mall in 1990. And once I started doing it, a couple of months later, I met the man I would end up marrying. Not legally. It was the 90s. Gay people couldn't marry back then. Can you imagine? Generation X gets it, but millennials, we couldn't always marry, and Gen Z, we couldn't always marry. So technically, I never legally married, which is good. Virgin, right? Virgo means not married, whatever. Lots of meanings for the word virgin. Somehow olive oil got in there. I mean, Popeye must be waiting all this time. The humor of the Aquarius Moon, blessed bay. Anyway, lost the thread on that one. But nonetheless, very, very excited, very, very inspired to teach this stuff so that anybody who takes these classes can at least start that process, that journey of taking these archetypes and alchemizing them from lead to gold, shadow to healthy, toxic to healthy, shadow to light, pain to peace, ass holy to holy, whatever you want to do, however you play it out. But yeah, it's not about, oh, I like that, I like that, I like that, I like that. You're able to look back over your life and find, for example, your Chronos archetypes, which means from birth to death, you have them all throughout time, right? I've got the Mystic Witch, absolutely. But the Alchemist Witch, which teams up with my Healer archetype, and we talk about this stuff, and you understand that now. I have that what's called Kairos archetype. It sort of comes and goes. So the first one's for Chronos is for a lifetime. Kairos is for a season, and a season can be 6 months. Season can be 20 years out of an entire lifetime. But then there are those ones that show up for a reason and can come and go in a second or a day or a week. And those are called cosmic. So Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Mace, if you've already read it and this is your gig and you're into it, I'm going to be teaching this about not just being a witch, but to access the powers that are written into your contract, right? We can't develop all there's a never-ending list of archetypes because new ones are being birthed regularly. I don't know about all the time, but regularly, right? The computer geek didn't exist 100 years ago. 200 years ago, we didn't have computers, right? Not like that. And we had people who could compute, but that's not exactly the same thing. There's a lot of cool stuff ahead, and I'm very excited. And looking back at the magic, the miracles, the mysticism, the prayers I did every day for the past year, it was like slowly but surely climbing up this mountain. And now, am I at the peak? I don't know. I've had a lot of what Maslow called peak experiences, not full-blown mystic crystal revelations of the mind's true liberation, Aquarius. Sorry, I have videos. I think that's of Raquel Welch dancing in the desert with a bunch of people in really weird costumes. So you see it on YouTube. You'll see what I mean. I think that's Raquel Welch. I think that was it Anne Margaret? I always got the two of them confused. Similar vibe, but I love them both. Watch as I slide all over the timeline today. But regardless, I'm into it and I'm ready to teach it, and I'm taking clients, right? So there's a lot. Am I juggling a lot? Sure. But am I enjoying myself? Absolutely. Because I have everything I need. In every given moment, they say we have everything we need with every inhale. Okay. And in every exhale, we let go of everything we don't need. Well, that makes sense energetically. In with the oxygen, out with the carbon dioxide. But, we don't see it that way. So all of that stuff aside, today's a day to get up into the higher altitudes. If you don't have literal work to do today, housework, self-care, healing, all that stuff. But if you can get up to those higher altitudes, raise your vibration, but don't do it with an attachment to an outcome. I'm going to raise my vibration so that I can make $1 million by the end of the day. Hey, good luck with that. I mean, if it happens, blessed be. No tea, no shade, no pink lemonade. I want everybody to manifest what their hearts desires, what their hearts may desire. But those hearts' desires are part of what you came in to do in this life, and they take time. So keep that in mind. Venus conjunct Saturn, our heart's desires, if you want to call that Venus, and our relationships with money, with lovers, with family, with whatever, that there are strong, healthy boundaries, but they're harmonious, right? They're conjunct for a couple of days. So take this time. Maybe look over your checklist, reprioritize, and go with what the heart lights up for. Like, think of that as like a Geiger counter. I've got Geiger's artwork in my head. This is what it's like being a professional clairvoyant. I had this talk with my friend, who I won't name. We're going to see this week. Fucking vows of confidentiality. I'm allowed to curse as much as I want. I'm just not allowed to break vows of confidentiality. It's going to be a lot of fun to see her. But of course, there were times in my life I questioned my sanity. But that's why I had good therapists along the way. I still have one that I haven't spoken to in a very, very long time, but I have her on speed dial still, right? If I need to. And I do check in with her just to see how she's doing. And I love her. She's great. And now with Ben Verified, you don't have to leave the house, but I would go see her. But I didn't need to, because I went through all of that. See, I was raised by a teacher and a lawyer, if I haven't mentioned it before. So, it was always that. It was always keep an eye on your sanity. And honestly, if you knew my dad when he was alive, he'd be like, I get why you would question your sanity. My dad was nuts. Everybody thinks their dad was nuts. Everybody thinks their dad was crazy. We have a doctor's note. God rest his soul. God rest his soul. But he was born on Flag Day. Look up famous people born on Flag Day in the United States, and you'll see what I mean. I win. I win the Toxic Dad Award. Award? That doesn't sound right. Oh, but therein is an Aquarius moon to find the funny, right? It was horrible at the time. It was traumatic. No, I mean, toxic, narcissistic vampire. But the word Narcissus was about a Greek myth, right? I'm sure there were therapists and, scholars and psychologists and psychiatrists who knew about what's in the DMSV, the diagnostic manual thing. I always confuse it with the Department of Motor Vehicles, because that's just how I roll, I guess. Horrible at the time, but you look back and you see something that Matt Kahn says, in order to be who I was born to become, it couldn't happen any other way. And I'm good where I am now. I'm happy where I am now. And I'm happy regardless, on a good day, of whatever comes and goes. And that's peace. That's alignment. That's spiritual evolution. And then you can certainly fulfill your contracts coming from that place. I don't know about easier, but in a more simple way, from that higher altitude. So give that a shot today, is all I'm saying. Pray, meditate, Reiki, Ho'oponopono, whatever you got to do. Catch that altitude. So let's end this with a little prayer, a little blessing, a little something to send us on our way, because it's my favorite way to start the day. Yes, I know that rhymes. But, when you're chatting with archangels and gods and ascended masters and all of that as part of your work day, the inspiration comes. But also, I don't have kids. I have cats. And I have no obligations to anybody. Obligations in the book Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. Everybody knows Four Agreements. His second book was Mastery of Love, applying the Four Agreements to relationships particularly. He says, love has no obligation. Obligation is a chain of lead, and yet We have obligations to our family, to our friends. So learning how to reshape that, to be more friendly with yourself, and say it's not an obligation. Only I have to feel good about my choices, but I can lead with love. And not everybody's up for that. And not everybody in your life wants to deal with your new healthy boundaries. And that's okay. Just remember, you don't have to change people. You just be the truth of who you are. Be the rebel that you are with a cause. Oh, James Dean. And that's how we heal this world, from the inside out. And to be kind and to understand that people are unraveling patterns of toxicity and fear that go back thousands of years. I'm not kidding. MC Beaton, unfortunately no longer on the planet with us, mystery author, but before she did the Agatha Raisin series and the Hamish Macbeth series, which I adore, she wrote a lot about British history through different relationships. Some of them were romance, some of them were mystery, there were some that were both. The series The Poor Relations is genius. It's like 4 books. A House for the Season, that was really good. And I was drawn to them over the pandemic. I mean, I've always loved like Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple, Agatha Christie, who also uses that same time genre, but she wrote a lot about the time she was incarnate on the planet as well. But looking back and seeing the social stuff, right? The patterns that we lived under as a planet, no, but in society, the societal norms and how, a woman was supposed to do this and a man was supposed to do that, and the class system. This is important. If you're struggling with the changes that are going on socially in our world, you have to understand there's an ingraining, that's a conditioning that's been going on for thousands of years, right? Because you had royalty, then I think came the aristocracy, and then the peerage, and then the gentry, and then the working class, and then the servant class, and then the poor, right? So all of these levels, and it's dissolving. That's the toxic patriarchal archetype. We needed that so that we could build buildings and roads and, be organized. Very, very third eye, but missing a lot of heart, right? This is about the rise of the divine feminine. So, of course, it's being dissolved. And yes, it is revolutionary. Aquarius, the rebel. But now we need to do that with love and compassion. And I know it's hard when family members and friends and coworkers are just tap dancing on your trigger point. And I don't mean the muscular ones, but I do mean like your unresolved stuff, your hidden landmines, right? I know it's hard, but it's a journey and you can't get it wrong, but you can delay what can't be prevented. I'm just not into delaying it. I want to go home eventually. I want to finish what I came here to do and go home. And maybe come back to this world 100 years or so from now, see how it's doing. Like, go look in. It's like, do they finally have their jetpacks? Melky, come here, baby. I don't know what that was about, but we had a Hanna-Barbera cat running in place on wooden floor moment there. I didn't see it, but I heard it. Come here, bugger. Come to mama, baby. Oh, my boys. Anyway, enough. Let's do the prayer. Let's send the blessings, send you on the way, because I'm all over the map, but not shocking for an Aquarius moon on a Sunday. So please take a nice deep breath. Oh, coffee's good. Breathe. Good timing with the ocean sounds in the background. Still point. I call upon our collective pantheons of the divine, our guides, masters, teachers, gods, goddesses, saints, angels, totems, healers, ancestors, and higher selves, going all the way back to the divine singularity. The Tao without name, the pregnant void source, to surround each and every one of us today in a force field of light, containing and protecting our energy field so we can receive the inspiration to move us forward, even if it's, a cup of coffee, or, piece of candy, or, let's do that, or, wow, that we may follow the guidance, grace, love, wisdom, and power that you guys are focusing on us 24/7, 365, even when we're sleeping. That we can open up that crown chakra and that third eye and just be open to the ideas. We can chew on them. It comes in, chew on it. We could spit it out. We could swallow it, move it down into the heart chakra, give it that emotional power down through the solar plexus and eventually into this world. What do we want for dinner tonight? Easy. What do I want to do with the rest of my life? Wherever we may find ourselves, take us by the hand today. Walk us through this. And on a personal note, use me. Whatever needs to be done. Even if I don't make another video today, because that's happened. A phone call happens, an emergency comes in, a family thing, a friend thing, an invitation to do this or that. I accept that I have no idea what it is that's written in my contract today. I barely know what's written on my to-do list today. So take me by the hand, use me, walk me through this day. Do all that needs to be done for me, through me, on my behalf. That is active surrender, not passive surrender. To make this the best day that I have ever had, to make this the best day that we have ever had, but not the best day we will ever have, because every day is a winding road and we get a little bit closer. Wisdom of the crow. For our well-being and for the well-being of all, may everyone be blessed with all that they need today. And may everyone be given the opportunity to choose to see that and to have fun and to succeed in whatever that means for us individually and collectively. Thank you, beloved pantheons of the divine. Thank you. In perfect love and in perfect trust, that I am now, as I am now, ain't perfect, except perfect where I am. So might it be. And so it is. I felt good. 32 minutes. I am a morning talk show. So, people on YouTube and elsewhere, you want this every morning? You want some of this every morning? I can put on jewelry for you. I look good for this time of day, considering I just woke up about an hour ago. Come Patreon on Patreon. And if you want to check out that witch archetype stuff, yes, you can go on Vimeo on demand today. Links in the description box. Today, you can start watching those, but you got to pay for them one at a time. Or you can come on Patreon and pay once a month as a witch, as a mystic, who did I miss? Or as a god goddess, which is one level of subscription, god goddess. Could have called it deity, but it doesn't sound as good. And come Patreon on Patreon. And if anybody's telling you what kind of witch you can and cannot be, no, don't tell them, come talk to me. You come talk to me. Cool. Have a good day. Let's see what happens next. It's Sunday. I'll probably do like at least a good 30 to 45 minutes of spiritual practice of some shape or flavor. We'll see. Otherwise, my patrons, I will see you tomorrow morning. Reach out if you need me. Anybody wants to book me for a reading, clients come first. I'd rather help people one-on-one. Well, and a lot of stuff is going on for people. So I got a lot of messages to return today too. So I'm wishing you all the very, very best and the very, very blessed of the rest of your Sunday, Aquarius moon and all. I love you. Even if this is your first time seeing my face or hearing my voice, I love you because there's only one of us incarnate here. We are one eternal light appearing as all, one spirit, one love. Bob Marley, blessed be. Have a good one. I love you. Hail, farewell, and blessed be. Bye.